The void whispered secrets. Around Eidolon Base, a lonely sentinel adrift in the black tapestry of the Kepler 186F system. Cold starlight glinted off its hull, a stark contrast to the churning nebula nearby, a celestial bruise of violet and crimson. Inside, Lieutenant Cade Vance moved like a phantom. His infiltration suit, a blend of chameleon polymers and sound dampeners, rendered him nearly invisible. Every shadow was cover, every vent a potential path. He was special forces honed by years against the Veyari Imperium, but this felt different. Colder, unsanctioned, fueled by fragmented intel about illegal bioweapon research. The kind of atrocity he'd sworn to prevent after seeing what uncontrolled weapons did on Cygnus X-Yon Maunchip Statsianua Ek-1. A memory burned behind his eyes. A rogue faction within the Alliance itself playing God. The station hummed, but beneath it, Cade sensed tension. Turrets swiveling too fast. Energy fields humming with excessive power, heat signatures indicating far more personnel than listed. Less like defense, more like a fortress bracing for assault. He slipped past patrolling guards, their visored faces unreadable, their movements clipped and anxious. The recycled air tasted of ozone and desperation. His objective, Lab Sector Gamma. Intel spoke of Project Chimera, a bioweapon targeting Veyari genetics. Genocide, cloaked as defense, slicing through the final security door. The sight within the cold blue light of the lab froze his breath. Containment fields pulsed around alien DNA models. Vials of luminescent liquids lined racks. At the center, a dispersal chamber pulsed with virulent green energy. Before a console stood, Dr. Eris Thorne lost in fervent obsession. Cade raised his pulse pistol. Dr. Thorne, shut it down. Now. Thorne spun shock, hardening into fanaticism. Lieutenant Vance Special Forces sent to steal my work, to suppress the only weapon that guarantees our survival. Survival. Cade's voice was ice. This is extermination. A plague. A necessary measure. Thorne jabbed a finger at a display of Veyari neurology. They are relentless. Conventional war is a stalemate. Chimera targets their unique neural architecture, swift clean. Nothing clean about genocide, Cade retorted, scanning the lab. Movement flickered above. A blur resolved into a figure dropping silently from a gantry. Form-fitting obsidian armor drank the light. Twin energy blades hissed to life, emerald light glinting on sharp features beneath a partial helmet. Almond-shaped eyes, luminous, fixed on Cade Veyari. The silent hand sigil marked her elite deadly. She struck before Cade could react. Blades scything where he'd stood, he dodged rolling disruptor bolts, splashing harmlessly off her kinetic shielding. She pressed the attack, a whirlwind of lethal precision, alien yet terrifyingly efficient, interferer. Her electronically filtered voice echoed, "This facility harbors abominations. Its destruction is paramount." Common enemy Thorne. Cade grunted, parrying a slash that sent sparks flying. Thorne scrambled back to his console. "Fools, you cannot comprehend. If I can't complete it, none shall have it." Alarms blared, bathing the lab in strobing red. Self-destruct sequence. Initiated T-5 minutes. Core overload imminent. The Veyari paused, head tilting, unforeseen. "You think," Cade snapped, glancing at the countdown. The station groaned. Explosions rocked the outer hull. Thorne cackled, backing towards an escape pod hatch. Too late. Eidolon burns. The hatch hissed shut, just as a structural beam crashed down, blocking it. Cade and the Veyari locked eyes across the deteriorating lab. Fire licked at conduits. Containment fields dyed vials shattering their contents. Sizzling on the deck. We need out. Cade stated the Veery, deactivated her blades, stance still wary. Primary hangar compromised secondary shuttle access deck, 12 sector Epsilon. You know the layout. Data acquisition preceded insertion, chillingly efficient. All right. Cade nodded, holstering his pistol. Truce, until we're clear. A luminous eye narrowed slightly. Temporary cessation, agreed lead human. He didn't trust her. She felt the same. Name's Cade Vance. Selene, she replied curtly. Falling into step as he turned towards the exit, the roar of impending detonation growing. They sprinted through chaotic corridors. Bulkheads slammed shut, forcing detours through coolant-slick tunnels. Explosions shuttered the frame. Smoke stung their eyes. Scrambled automated defenses fired wildly, forcing them to weave through laser fire. They moved with desperate synchronicity, covering each other instinctively. Despite the animosity, Cade blasted jammed doors. Selene navigated collapsing walkways with uncanny agility. Sector Epsilon ahead. Cade yelled. Deck 12 was devastated. Fires raged, hull breaches roared. The secondary shuttle bay was miraculously intact. Sparks showering from damaged conduits, a single scarred assault shuttle sat on the cradle. Bay doors. Selene commanded, sprinting towards the ramp. Cade slammed the control panel. Dead. Manual override jammed. He fired precise shots at the locks. Metal screamed. A desperate kick groaned the door partially open. Selene was already in the cockpit, fingers flying across alien controls. Engines whined, then roared. Strap in, launching. Cade barely made it to the co-pilot seat. As Selene slammed the throttle, the shuttle leaped, smashing through the damaged doors. Behind them, Eidolon Base blossomed into a silent, incandescent sphere. The shockwave hit, tossing the craft. Alarm shrieked. Hull integrity compromised, starboard engine failing. Selene wrestled the controls. Sparks erupted. Navigation offline. We're blind. The shuttle tumbled through the viewport. A planet loomed, swirling greens and ochres veiled in corrosive-looking clouds. Vespera, a Class M world deemed uninhabitable, uncharted by the Veery. Stabilize us. Cade shouted, attempting atmospheric entry. Selene strained. Only chance, brace. The shuttle screamed into the atmosphere, the viewport incandescent. The vessel bucked violently. Systems failed, plunging the cockpit into near darkness, lit only by faint red emergency lights. They were falling towards the poisoned surface. Cade glimpsed jagged acid-scarred mountains and bubbling swamps under a perpetually overcast sky. Then impact and darkness. Consciousness returned painfully. Ringing ears, aching muscles, taste of blood. The cockpit was wrecked. The air thick with burnt circuitry and a foul, unfamiliar stench seeping in. Selene was slumped, motionless. Her helmet was cracked, revealing high cheekbones, pearlescent skin, and sharp, angular features. Violet blood trickled from a temple cut. Selene! Cade croaked. Her pulse was faint but steady. He smashed her jammed harness release. She stirred, eyes fluttering open. Status. She murmured, alive. Cade said grimly, ships totaled planetside Vespera. Selene pushed upright. Wincing atmosphere. Cade checked the auxiliary sensors. Corrosive high sulfuric compounds, methane unknown. Particulates, pressure, tolerable gravity, slightly high. Temperature, moderate dropping. Twilight, faded under thick clouds. Phosphorescent fungi cast an eerie gloom. We can't stay here, hulls breached. Selene nodded. Emergency supplies. They salvaged a medkit, 2 power packs, a multi-tool, useless water purifiers, nutrient paste, and a cracked dead distress beacon. Selene retrieved her blades and a compact scanner. Crash trajectory, Selene said, showing a corrupted chart on her scanner. Extrapolating, Old Alliance Survey Outpost, 70 clicks, northeast. Designation, Perseus. Abandoned. Decades ago. Cade frowned. Probably collapsed. Only potential shelter or communication. Selene stated flatly, survival probability decreases if stationary. 70 kilometers across that hellscape. Impossible, but staying meant death. All right, northeast. His suit seals were compromised, but holding limited air. Selene's very physiology offered better resistance, but not indefinitely. They forced the mangled hatch, stepping into the alien twilight. The air hit Cade, thick, cloying, burning his sinuses despite straining filters. It smelled of sulfur and decay. The ground crunched brittle, crystalline, bioluminescent plants pulsed faintly. Twisted leafless trees clawed at the sky. Silence broken only by wind and distant, unsettling gurgles. Filters maxed. Cade reported 12 hours maybe. He felt a flicker of unusual stamina, dismissing it as adrenaline. Selene scanned the horizon. Outpost beyond that range. She pointed towards knife-edged peaks against the poisonous green sky. Terrain is perilous. Conserve energy. They walked the wreck, diminishing behind them. Each step fought gravity and treacherous ground. The silence pressed in. They kept distance, acknowledging the fragile truce. Cade watched her, a predator, even stranded. He wondered what she saw in him. Just another human enemy. Hours crawled by. Razor-sharp shards, viscous acidic rivers, loose scree slopes, bioluminescent flora cast ghostly light. Fatigue set in his suit. Filters strained. He noticed Selene's movements becoming less fluid, her breathing shallower. The atmosphere was affecting her too. During a rest in a wind-carved cave, Selene studied her scanner. Anomalous energy readings, faint localized, not geological. Near the outpost, approx 5 clicks south, unidentified. Curious. They pressed on, clearing a ridge. Cade stumbled. Vision. Swimming suit warnings. Flash critical. Air low. Filters failing. Vance. Selene turned back. Filters. Failing. Cade gasped, leaning on rock. Black spots danced. Selene approached, scanning his suit port. Oxygen reserves near depletion. Filtration. Overloaded. She looked at him, expression unreadable. You will not survive another hour. Cade sagged, killed by bad air. A bitter laugh escaped him. Unexpectedly, Selene offered a thin tube connected to a small Veyari emergency air canister. Your intake valve. Can it accept external input? Confused, Cade checked the standard port. Yes, why? This mixture isn't ideal for humans. Selene stated calmly. Incorrect nitrogen balance, but sufficient oxygen temporarily. Better than asphyxiation. He hesitated, breathing Veyari air. The irony, but death was certain otherwise. Trembling, he connected the tube. Cool metallic air flooded his helmet. Breathable, the black spots receded. It's working, he breathed. Do not exert yourself, Selene warned, monitoring his vitals. Prolonged use induces shock. She disconnected after a minute, replenished immediate reserves. We must reach the outpost quickly. He nodded, reeling slightly. She could have left him. Pragmatism. Honor. He looked at her, not just as Veyari, but as his savior. Thank you, Selene. She gave a curt nod. Conserve strength. Cade, Vance. Vespera has not finished trying to kill us. They resumed their journey. The dynamic subtly shifted. The truce felt less fragile. Descending the ridge, the terrain changed to petrified forest, fossilized trees like grotesque sculptures, strange clicking echoed. Cade felt odd. The sinus burn faded. Breathing felt easier. Monitors showed oxygen levels stabilizing, filters showing less strain. Sensor malfunction. Or something else, he remembered. Classified medical treatments. Whispers of Project Helios. Experimental enhancements for hostile environments. Had he been unknowingly augmented? A living experiment. Shapes detached from shadows. Low multi-legged chitinous exoskeletons blending with stone. Mandibles clicked. Multiple red eyes glowed. Vesperan wildlife, more emerged, surrounding them. Hostiles. Selene, snapped blades flaring. Cade drew his pistol. Power pack low. The creatures scuttled forward. Cade fired, searing chitin. Selene was a whirlwind, emerald blades slicing exoskeletons. But there were too many. One lunged mandibles snapping near Cade's faceplate. Another leaped onto his back, claws scrabbling, puncturing a shoulder seam. Minor suit breach alarm. Selene spun, slicing the creature off him. They fought back to back. Cade's pistol clicked empty. He used his knife. Selene danced death blades, a green blur. The creatures pressed relentlessly. Fall back, Cade gasped. Defensible ground. Agreed. Selene pointed to a narrow fissure. She carved a path. Cade followed, fending off attacks. They squeezed inside as the creatures swarmed the entrance, screeching claws, scraping rock. Inside panting. Cade checked his shoulder. Suit sealed, minor wound. Selene seemed largely unharmed. The pain in his shoulder lessened unnaturally fast. Fatigue receded, replaced by humming energy. He checked his biomonitors again. Oxygen optimal, toxin filters, minimal strain despite overload and breach, not malfunction. His body was adapting. Selene. He began hesitant. My suit readings, it's normalizing, feels like I'm adapting. Selene ran a detailed bioscan. Her eyes widened slightly. Cellular respiration shows unusual efficiency. Toxin metabolization. Anomalous, exceeding baseline human parameters. Pause. Complex protein markers in your bloodstream. Unrecognized genetic modifications. Genetic modifications. Project Helios. Classified treatments. Unknowing guinea pig. The realization hit hard. Project Helios. He murmured, I think I was part of it. Selene lowered her scanner gaze, intense. Explain. He told her his suspicions, the secrecy, the Alliance's desperation crossing ethical lines. He felt violated, used. Yet this unwanted augmentation was keeping him alive. Selene listened impassively. Genetic augmentation. She finally said, dangerous, unpredictable. Your alliance treads ground. Even the Imperium hesitates to explore. She looked at him anew. This explains your resistance. Your augmented biology neutralizes the toxins. Does this change anything? Cade asked. Selene considered. Context. It doesn't alter our objective survival, or that your government-sanctioned chimera. A sharp reminder. They waited, then emerged, continuing northeast. The petrified forest yielded to geothermal mudflats, venting acrid steam. The ground trembled. The anomalous energy readings grew stronger, south of Perseus's coordinates. Diverging, they crested a rise. Below, nestled in a basin, weren't ruins, but modular habitat domes of recent construction. Faded alliance markings. Crude Veyri sigils, painted over sections. Geothermal power taps hissed. A clandestine research facility recently hastily abandoned. Not the survey outpost. Selene stated scanner working. Energy signatures match anomaly. Radiation, elevated life signs, negative. Alliance and Viari markings. Together. Cade frowned. They approached cautiously. A damaged maintenance hatch yielded to Selene's multi-tool, inside chaos, overturned equipment, smashed data slates, scorch marks, labs held broken glassware, and desiccated samples. On a functioning terminal, Cade bypassed encryption. Finding fragmented logs, Selene kept watch. The logs depicted Project Tartarus, a joint top-secret operation by Rogue Alliance and Viari elements, collaborating secretly using Vespera to weaponize its environment, refining toxins, engineering local life forms. Logs spoke of mutual benefit, contained escalation, third-party marketability. Weapons for dissidents, rebels, or proxy forces maintaining the public human Viari war facade. Encrypted comms between Alliance General Marcus Thorne, Eris Thorne's brother, and Viari Praetor Kalen revealed more, a shadowy network manipulating the war itself. Fanning conflict staging incidents, supplying both sides, covertly profiting immensely. The war wasn't just tragic. It was partly a managed enterprise. Eidolon might have been Eris Thorne's independent venture, a threat to his brother's controlled approach. Selene's mission might have served Kalen and Thorne's agenda, eliminating a rogue element Cade felt sickened. Decades of war, millions dead manipulated for profit. Selene stood rigid. Viari impassivity strained her people, bound by honor, betrayed from within. Traitors, Selene hissed coldly. Both commands, corrupted, played us all. Cade agreed. Kept the war going, Chimera Tartarus, just tools. Suddenly, Selene staggered, gasping, bracing against a console. Tremors ran through her. Selene. Cade moved towards her. What's wrong? Atmosphere, she gasped. Suit filtration. Compromised. Tolerances exceeded. Her Viari resistance had reached its limit. Her skin took on a sickly grayish hue. Medkit. Cade scrambled. Analyzers, antitoxins, calibrated for humans. Her vitals were crashing. Neurotoxin markers spiked, standard treatments useless. She was dying. My blood, Cade said, clarity striking. Project, Helios. Toxin neutralization. Could his adapted engineered blood be an antidote? Insane gamble. Cross-species transfusion. Genetically altered blood. Wildly dangerous. But it was her only chance. Selene He urged, kneeling beside her. My blood is adapted. It might counteract the toxins. Long shot may be impossible. Only option. She looked at him, eyes clouded but sharp. Accepting human blood. His blood, abhorrent, yet survival, beckoned. A faint, almost imperceptible nod. Working quickly, Cade used the medkit, found a compatible IV line, accessed his suit's transfusion port, drew his own strangely vibrant blood heart pounding, connected the line to her arm port, started the flow, slowly monitoring vitals intensely, a terrifying minute. Her tremors worsened, breathing hitched. He almost pulled the line. Then, the decline slowed. Breathing steadied. Gray tinge receded. Neurotoxin markers dipped, then slowly fell. His blood product, a forbidden science, was fighting Vesperan poisons in her Viari system. He continued the transfusion until her vitals stabilized, disconnected, applied a Viari biobandage. Selene lay still, exhausted but breathing easier. Color returned. She looked up. Expression complex. Weakness. Astonishment. Something deeper. An intimate biological connection forged. Rest. Cade said softly. Secure for now. He reactivated internal atmospheric scrubbers, stood guard, processing the torrent. Helios Tartarus, the conspiracy. The bond with the Viari, whose life now flowed with his blood. Lines blurred, enemy ally victim weapon. Selene recovered slowly. The transfusion left her weakened, but functional. A subtle resonance remained between them. Unnerving, intimate. They delved deeper into Tartarus logs, finding records of failed experiments, mutated horrors, gruesome test, subject deaths. Thorn and Kalen showed callous disregard for life. They also found fragmented schematics for a broad-spectrum antitoxin from extremophil organisms in Vespera's geothermal vents. Incomplete theoretical, but the core research was there. Developing disease and cure simultaneously. Cade mused bitterly. Control, both profit from both. Such cynicism, Selene murmured, tracing a Viari glyph for betrayal. Kalen dishonors the Imperium. He and Thorn must be exposed. Exposing them means exposing the conspiracy. Cade said could shatter everything or force a ceasefire. He looked at the antitoxin research. And this, could cure Vespera's poisons, maybe the bioweapons too. They possessed galaxy-altering evidence and a potential cure. Stranded fugitives. They explored Tartarus, scavenging lower levels, held containment pens, labs, weaponization chambers. Signs of sabotage. In damaged cryostorage, they found preserved extremophil samples, near reinforced containment cells. Some breached from inside. They were attacked. Not forest creatures, but worse. Low guttural clicking vibrated their bones. Shadows coalesced into vaguely reptilian bipeds, asymmetrical limbs, multiple glowing eyes, skin like flowing shadow. Jerky, unpredictable speed. Razor claws. Genetic experiments gone wrong. Escaped test subjects. Tartarus abominations. Selene breathed, igniting blades. These were cunning. Used the environment. Resisted pulse bolts. Selene's blade sliced shadowy flesh that reformed instantly. One slammed Cade against a wall, its alien intelligence chilling. They fought desperately. Cade's Helios enhancements barely kept him alive. Selene took a hit, staggered. The transfusion bond flared. Phantom pain, protective fury. He threw himself forward, knife driving into a creature's primary eye cluster. It shrieked, dissolving into oily vapor. Neural clusters, eyes. Cade yelled. Selene adapted instantly, targeting eyes with blinding speed. 2 more dissolved. The rest hesitated, retreated into shadow. Silence returned. Cade helped Selene dress a new arm wound. This whole planet is a weapon, Cade said grimly. Selene nodded. The creators unleashed horrors they couldn't control. The true enemy twists life into weapons, profits from suffering. Thorn, Kalen, their masters. We have the evidence, Cade said, holding the datapad. The potential cure. He looked up. How do we get it out? Make anyone believe us? They retreated upwards, sealing the lower levels. Consolidated samples, research logs onto an encrypted data chip. Found a damaged long-range transmitter, potentially repairable, with scavenged parts and power cells for one short, powerful burst towards the Omega Serpentis. Neutral relay. Repairing it side by side, forced proximity led to conversation. Cade learned of Selene's Viari code, her homeworld Viridia, scarred by war. He shared stories of Earth, his lost ideals, the Helios violation. Common ground emerged, war weariness, grudging respect. The enemy facade crumbled. The transfusion's echoes persisted. Faint Viari perspectives in Cade's mind, glimpses of human individualism for Selene. Disorienting, yet building empathy. Transmitter, ready, calibrated, boosted, aimed, encoded the chip's contents. The devastating choice: transmit, expose. Everything become hunted, fugitives signing their death warrants, or destroy it, disappear. Leave the galaxy to its manipulated wars. Cade looked at the transmitter, then Selene. Her luminous eyes held the same conflict: freedom or truth, survival or honor. Send this. Cade said quietly, no, going back. Hunted to the ends of the galaxy. Silence ensures deceit. Selene replied firmly, Cale and Thorn, their masters, will continue. Veyari code demands truth. Cost be damned. Yours, Cade Vance. He thought of lost soldiers, manipulation, Helios. His battered code still valued truth, accountability. Expose them. He said, let the galaxy know. A rare faint smile touched Selene's lips. Agreed. They initiated transmission equipment. Strained, unleashed the burst. Confirmation flashed. Sent encrypted, whether it reached, whether it was believed. They had acted. They waited, preparing. Surveillance might detect the energy signature. Capture seemed inevitable. They disabled the transmitter, erased traces, fortified their position. Days passed under the oppressive sky. The bond deepened. They trained, discussed strategy, learned about each other's worlds. Enemy archetypes dissolved. Sensors picked up incoming vessels. 2 fleets dropping into orbit. Alliance battle group, Veyari, strike force, not working together, converging on Tartarus, alerted. They're here, Cade said grimly. Hostile approach vectors. Secure or sanitize the site. Selene reported tightly. And us. Drop pods streaked down Alliance Marines. Veyari shock troops caught between 2 closing fists. Capture inevitable. Cade sighed. Perhaps. Selene said, eyes glinting. But we face them separately. Separately. Captured together, they eliminate us as collaborators. She explained quickly. Only chance allow capture by our own sides. Pretend hostility. Your Alliance survivor. Vance captured by Veyari, exploiting Tartarus. I'm Veyari, operative discovering human infiltration and treachery. Plant seeds of doubt. Buys time. Risky, desperate. Meant separation, interrogation, potential, execution alone. But she was right. All right, stage a fight. Selene nodded. Make it convincing. Landing craft sounds grew louder. They faced each other. A silent promise. Selene ignited her blades. Cade raised his pistol. Doors burst open. Alliance from West Veyari. From East, for the Alliance. Cade yelled, firing deliberately wide. For the Imperium. Selene retorted, lunging blades, missing purposefully. Hold fire. Secure them. Barked an Alliance commander. Capture the human, subdue. The operative commanded a Veyari officer. Overwhelming force. Cade struggled realistically as Marines tackled him. Selene ceased her attack. Deactivated blades as Veyari surrounded her. A fleeting look across the chaos. Then dragged away separately towards warships. Uncertain fates. Treacherous commands. The bridge severed, each alone in the storm. Aboard Alliance battlecruiser. Retribution. Cade faced Colonel Eva Rostova's cold interrogation. He stuck to his cover. Survived. Eidolon. Suspected Veyari at Tartarus. Found unauthorized Alliance research linked to General Marcus Thorn. Engaged. Selene captured. He omitted Helios, the full conspiracy, transfusion transmission. Naming Thorn was risky. Rostova's expression didn't flicker, but her eyes tightened. General Thorn is decorated. Serious accusations, Lieutenant. Logs were fragmented. Colonel. Cade pressed, someone high up, Sanctioned Tartarus, someone who might want Eidolon silenced. Hours of questioning. Rostova pushed on his Vesperan survival. Cade blamed luck and suit systems. He knew Thorn would be alerted. He was a loose end. Aboard Veyari flagship Shadow's Hand, Selene faced sub-praetor Morvan. Her story infiltrated. Eidolon escaped. With Vance found Tartarus as a rogue human operation using Veyari resources engaged. Vance captured. She subtly implicated human leadership, omitting Kalen's direct role. Praetor. Kalen leads this strike force. Morvan noted, "Your presence raises questions. My loyalty is to the Imperium." Selene stated, Tartarus represented human perversion, possibly aided by collaborators Kalen sought to purge. Morvan seemed placated, but Kalen's presence was worrying. He knew the truth. She too was a loose end. Weeks passed. Repeated interrogations, isolation, manipulation. Rostova threatened court-martial. Morvan mentioned dishonor's price, lies fed, the other confessed, implicated them. Medical exams, Cade masked, Helios augmentations. Selene's altered physiology baffled medics attributed to toxin poisoning. The bond persisted. Flashes of resolve, frustration, resilience, anger. A lifeline. Impatience grew. Thorn ordered Rostova towards persuasive methods. Kalen ordered Morvan to prep Selene for memory retrieval protocols. Escape became imperative. Cade sensed the setup during a staged prison transfer. Using Helios enhanced abilities, he overpowered guards, triggered system failures, chaos, navigated toward shuttle bays acquiring weapons. Alarms blared. Fugitive aboard a warship. Simultaneously, Selene incapacitated her escort to memory retrieval, slipped through vents, mapped meticulously. Moved like a wraith towards comms, then hangar. Needed a fail-safe message. Cade reached a secondary bay just before lockdown, fought through security. Hot-wired a courier shuttle blasted through weakened energy shields. Fighters launched in pursuit. Selene reached auxiliary comms. Sent encrypted burst to anti-Kalen faction, hinting at Tartarus, implicating Kalen. Reached scout pods, hangar section. Slipped into one as guards burst in. Pod launched stealth, engaged. Vanishing into the black 2 stolen vessels fled. Pursued, hunted, raced towards desolate asteroid field rendezvous. Cade arrived, first hiding, waiting anxiously. Then Veyari pod emerged. Selene. Cade transmitted, acknowledged. Her calm voice replied, pursuit evaded. Move quickly. They docked reunited free, but hunted failsafe sent. Cade asked. Selene nodded. Targeted message. You. Escape Thorn's disposal. Rostova knows I'm augmented. He looked at the data chip. They'll hunt us with everything. Then we ensure the truth gets out. Selene stated, eyes blazing. Everything to everyone. Course set for Omega Serpentis relay. Rigged shuttle transmitter boosted by pod systems. Broadcast everything. Tartarus conspiracy. Helios antitoxin. On all frequencies. Journey. Perilous dodge patrols. Monitored subspace. Thorn and Kalen closing the net. Worked seamlessly. Trust solidified. Spoke of the future. The galaxy they hoped to change. Nearing Omega, Serpentis warships converged. Blockade forming. No turning back. Cade said, initiating broadcast. Truth is its own shield. Selene replied, diverting power to transmitter shields. Signal burst outwards. Confirmation? Signals flooded in. Message propagating galactic comm networks. Saturated chaos erupted. Confused, angry voices. News feeds exploding. Military chatter showed confusion, demands for explanation. Shuttle shields failed under fire. Tractor beam, locked on, didn't matter. Truth was out. As Marines and warriors boarded, they found Cade and Selene standing side by side watching galactic chaos unfold. An uneasy ceasefire spread as fleets paused. Commanders hesitated. Trust shattered. The war machine sputtered. Aftermath: tumultuous investigations, mutinies, political meltdowns. Thorn and Kalen arrested by loyalists. Helios project suspended amid outrage. Veari confronted internal corruption. The war didn't end, but momentum shifted irrevocably. Soldiers demanded peace. Cade and Selene, central figures, testified. Moderate factions convened unprecedented joint summit at Neutral Nexus Orion Station. They walked in not as prisoners, but key witnesses. Alliance diplomats faced Veari emissaries. At the central podium, Cade and Selene delivered testimony. Detailed Eidolon, Vespera, Tartarus, the conspiracy. Spoke of the cost, the manipulation. Offered the Vesperan antitoxin research freely, a symbol of cooperation. Their words resonated. Evidence undeniable. Corrupt leaders fell. Hardliners sidelined. A fragile peace process began, driven by shared betrayal and exhaustion. Tentative armistice signed. Joint science teams worked on antitoxin. Promising but complex. Cautious communication opened. The path ahead, long, uncertain, scarred, but peace seemed possible. Offered pardons, ambassadorial roles. They discussed it privately, watching a trinary sunset paint, Nexus Orion. Ambassadors, Cade mused wryly, quite the change. Requires bridging divides. Selene observed, a task we seem qualified for. The bond remained. Think we can do it? Cade asked earnestly. Selene faced him, assassin's harshness, softened by purpose, maybe hope, a faint, genuine smile. We survived. Vespera exposed, a conspiracy, stopped a war. I believe we can manage diplomatic receptions. Pause. But I only accept if we undertake it together, as partners. Cade didn't hesitate. Wouldn't have it any other way. He reached out. She took his hand. Human Veari soldier assassin, bound by fate they forged, but the galaxy remained fractured. Remnants of Thorn and Kalen's network operated in shadows. Hardliners on both sides plotted resurgence. The antitoxin faced unexpected biological hurdles and wider application. Peace was not guaranteed merely possible. A new complex struggle began. Hand in hand, they turned from the viewport, ready for the political minefields, the fragile negotiations, the hard work of building a future on the ruins of lies, a future built on hard-won trust and the precarious promise of peace.